Everybody see the screen okay and hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I guess you're here because you want to hear more about the new building, and that's the plan of attack. So let's just jump right on into it. So the new engineering complex, as you know, sits where Estabrook, Barry, and Pasqua used to sit. So about 228 gross square footage. Net assignable feet mean kind of the usable square feet. So we're going to have about 38,000 net assignable square feet. Engineering fundamentals about 43,000. Additional research labs about 43,000. The cost is 129 million. And we're going to go from about 18,000 square feet that we had back in Pasqua, and really most of it was in Pasqua, and then later we got some in Ferris, to this 38,000 square feet. So we're getting a lot more space. That's what it looks like from the front. So this is from the hillside with the stadium on the right. Still, you'll have the walk across to get to John Tickle Industrial Engineering and Civil Engineering Building. This is what it looks from the riverside. Actually, over here on this lower right-hand side will be the Bumpy Taurus. So that'll be a little outside exhibit. I don't have a picture of it. I should do that for my future presentations. This was the picture taken yesterday, so you can kind of see where we are. There's really 4 quadrants to the building. This quadrant is really engineering fundamentals, and the college, the Tickle College of Engineering administrative offices is up here on the 4th floor. Then the 2 back halves, kind of the back left, is the engineering fundamentals. This back right, the lower levels are nuclear engineering labs. The upper levels are kind of laboratory surge space. And then this part that juts out here is really our administrative space. And there's this little space right here, and that's our nuclear engineering balcony. So this is from the programming document. Programming is when you determine what needs you have in the new building, and you basically program the space. So you can see the program net squared footage for nuclear was about 38,000. When they actually designed it, we got about, I don't know, 1,500 square feet. Somehow disappeared. This is the net square footage by type. So there'll be some classrooms, and nuclear has 3 classrooms in there, laboratory facilities. So it's mainly the majority, or I guess the largest portion of the new building is laboratories and then offices. And by department, nuclear has about 30% of the building. If anybody has any questions, feel free to stop me and ask questions. So the goal is really a state-of-the-art nuclear engineering facility that also has some integrated unique research capabilities. Lots of faculty offices, postdoc offices, offices for graduate student. Our staff personnel will be there on the 4th floor, most of them on the 4th floor, other than Ashley and Scott. Classrooms, we have an 80-person, a 40-person, and a 30-person classroom. We'll show you where those are. Lots of meeting rooms, conference rooms, collaboration areas, break areas, lounges, those types of things that older buildings usually don't have, but they program these into the newer buildings. Electronics, mechanical shops, really machine shops, I wouldn't call it mechanical. It's really basically our shop where we have, our saws, our welder, and those types of things. And then 23 laboratories. This is kind of interesting in that the theme of it is the gateway to engineering. It's really being designed with safety in mind, so there'll be some things in it that are kind of safety related. It has this is on this picture up and to the left, this is walking in from the south side, from the riverside. That's And then this is what you would see if you walked in from the first floor. And the atrium is kind of open, and this the staircase flows through the whole building. They call it it's kind of the ribbon that ties the building together. Here's some floor plans. This is the ground floor, so this back part is kind of underneath the earth, is kind of a basement. You see something in purple, that's nuclear. These different shades of aqua are engineering fundamentals. This brown or gray, I guess, is facility services. So they have chillers and all kinds of large mechanical pieces in this ground floor on the southeast side. We have a high bay here. Scott Emmert's office is here. The shop is here. There's a corridor that you have to come down to get to the shop and to get to. These are the heavily shielded areas. In this laboratory is going to be the graphite pile and our approach to critical facility. This is a control room. You enter through here, and this is kind of a checkpoint. This room gives you access to the two heavily shielded rooms. Has some data acquisition stations here. This is the accelerator room where the LINAC, the linear accelerator, will be. And this is a long room that where we have plans for what's called a fast neutron source. There's a crane coming in here, so you can get it here from the outside, kind of like a huge garage door opens up. You can unload things with a crane. And there's two more garage doors, and you can actually get large pieces of shielding and those types of things all the way back into the fast neutron source in the LINAC room. We have two labs here. They're kind of industrial labs. One of them's a wet lab, one of them's a dry lab. Be shared by Dr. Coble, Dr. Upadhyaya, Dr. Wood. It's kind of the instrumentation, control, monitoring, diagnostics type laboratories. Dr. Coble has named them. I think they have pretty cool names. Like one of them's the CATS lab, and she has an acronym for cats, and I forget. I don't think the other's dogs, but she has acronyms for those laboratories. This is the first floor. So this is, if you would, let me come back here. So if you walk in from the riverside, you come in here. There's some kind of collaboration space here. This goes into the Ming Cow innovation area, so laboratories. Back here is more rooms for the Freshman Engage program. Here's on the second floor. So again, the purple is our laboratories. This light pink are teaching areas. So we have an 80-person classroom here. If you walk in from the hillside and you look directly to the right, there will be a place where you can get food, those types of things. Pantry. So, and there'll be places out here where you can go eat your food. There are some booths here where you can go eat your food or study or hang out. If you come in this first hallway, this is our instrumentation laboratory. So 401 will be taught in there. That's where we have our nuclear instrumentation lab. Right next to it is a radiochemistry laboratory. It has 3 radiochemistry hoods. Next to that is a nuclear engineering, kind of a shared instrumentation lab. And then as we go down, I think this is Dr. Heilbronn's lab. We have the electronics shop. We have Ashley Pearson's offices and some more IT area here. On the end of each one of these laboratory wings is a collaboration area with I think it ends up being about an 8-person conference room. It might be a 6-person conference room, and then a little kitchenette area. This is a room that's a kind of computer lab with a nuclear power plant simulator and big screens here for the digital simulator. Next to it is the cluster laboratory. So Dr. Cavallo will have all the nodes, and the cluster is here. And it's really built to be expanded quite a bit. If you look down, these kind of light purple rooms, these are GTA offices. I think there's 9 or 10 students per office. And then these are 2 small student collaboration areas, kind of 6-person conference rooms. We go to the second floor, we have more laboratories. I think these are Dr. Hayward's labs, and these labs are Dr. Hall's labs. Again, you have the collaboration area, the small research team meeting room. These are all GTA rooms. The rooms that have 2 people in them are the postdocs, and then we have faculty on one side and research faculty on the other side. This is actually the Student Society Lounge. And the Student Society Lounge has its own, I think it's an 8-person conference room. So this will be really nice. It's kind of like the Nuclear Engineering Lounge. And next door to it, right over here, this is going to be Amanda Lovelace's office. So very close to the lounge. So if you have meetings with the professional advisor, hang out in the lounge, she can come get you, and you can have your meetings there. This is the third floor. Notice that these labs turn green. That means they're Tickle College of Engineering labs. They're room for expansion. Over here on the left side is engineering fundamentals again. This is a lot of the teaching rooms. These huge rooms can be divided into quadrants with like folding doors. We get back to the nuclear side, the same thing. We have GTAs, postdocs, faculty, research faculty. And here we have a larger conference room. I think that'll seat about 18, and then a smaller conference room, and then a little lounge area. On the fourth floor, you can see that all this turned green. This is actually some color-coded floor plans from probably about 2 or 3 years ago. So the green again would be the surge space laboratories. But this has changed. This green space here is now Tickle College of Engineering Administration. So the administration, the dean, the communications, professional practice, all those things are moving over into the new building. This is kind of our administrative floor. If you walk in here, it's not drawn very well here, but this is the reception area. This is the accounting staff. So Tanya, Candy, and Michelle will be in here. Then we have the budget director. The director is the associate head, and then this is the head's office. On this side, this is a huge break room. And next to that is what we call for a plug-in, or if we win some very large grant, we can have the director of the center, the associate director, business manager, and kind of reception area. So this has a glass front, as does the reception area. And this is on the fourth floor. This is our large executive conference room. That's where we have our board of advisor meetings and other meetings that I think it seats about 36 people. And then this is our, oops, where did my mouse go? There it is. This is our nuclear engineering balcony. And right outside this large break room, there's a door, and this is a very large balcony. But it's not really nuclear engineering space. It's just the Zeanah building space. Then fifth floor, this is more surge space. Over on the top of this I guess it's the southwest corner, is a green roof. So they had to have a way of getting rid of it. If you had big rains, getting rid of all the rainwater, and this green roof allows them to meet those compliance issues. Okay, let's see if I can, see if I can get this walkthrough to run. And we had this walkthrough at our board of advisors meeting about a week ago. So this is a very new video that was put together. Let me try to share it. Oh. If someone can give me a thumbs up if they can see this, that might help.
I can see it, but it's a little difficult to hear. Not getting the voice.
What did you say, Val?
I'm not hearing very much what he is saying.
Okay, let me turn it up as high as possible.
Hines, I think you need to share your computer audio. It's in the settings on Zoom.
I need to share what?
Audio.
Audio.
Share computer sound? Tell me if that helps.
A sense for the building's shape and its context. The building is divided into 4 wings, and it's fused at the center by the atrium. We're excited that it's going to serve as a new face for the southeastern portion of campus, and that it will serve as a new gateway for the Temple College of Engineering. So we're standing at the south entrance to the building. You can see behind me the 3 large openings. Those will have glass fold-up doors in them, and on pleasant days like this one, those doors will actually be capable of being folded up, and so that you can have what's going on inside, which happens to be the Cal Innovation and Collaboration Studio, come outside of that point. So let's go take a look inside and we'll give you a better picture of that area. So this is the Cal Innovation and Collaboration Studio. You can see that there's a large area on the floor where we are, and that will have a plethora of benchtop tables and stools.
Oh.
Also, it will have a lot of laser cutters and 3D printers here as well. What really supercharges this space and makes it capable of really facilitating that ideation and iteration of innovation, let's say, is all of the tools that are off to the side here. So behind these walls will eventually be a metal shop, and over to your right there will eventually be a wood shop. And we also have a water jet cutter, a welding booth, a paint booth, really just a lot of great tools to be able to help these students on their way to bringing their ideas to fruition. Also upstairs on the mezzanine level, there are collaboration team rooms, there is a visualization lab there, and also there is an electronics lab. All right, so let me take you into the first year design studio now. So that quick connection there is actually intentional. The first year design studio here was envisioned being in close proximity to the Innovation and Collaboration Studio, not only so that these individuals could utilize those same tools, but also so that these individuals would be in proximity to upper level students and students in different disciplines. So it's really about inspiring these students with upper level projects and projects of different disciplines. So this is the John and Ann Tickle Atrium. It's progressed considerably since the last time we were here. You can see the orange Core 10 panels behind me that are flanking that staircase all the way up 6 stories. Just imagine during class changes, 2,000 students at a time making their way through this atrium. So also on the ground floor will be a remembrance of Estabrook Hall, which the Zeanah Engineering Complex replaced in 2018. Estabrook Hall occupied this site for 120 years, and 16 of those years it was shared between the College of Architecture and the College of Engineering. The exhibit behind me will be framed by the familiar basket handle arch that Estabrook displayed for many, many generations, and also the stone that was a part of that archway is being reused to frame this exhibit. So remember those 2,000 students in the atrium. Certainly this space will be about movement, but it'll also be about being stationary as well. So we'll have tables and chairs for anyone to sit down, converse, eat. We also have countertops with stools that are integrated into the atrium stair itself in places. And then further beyond there, you can see we'll also have this on most levels, an alcove for booths. And those booths will have power. They'll have writable walls, so you could collaborate there if you wanted to. Okay, so we're in the Engage Tutorial Center now. There is an equivalent to this in Perkins Hall right now in room 108. It's extremely popular, but it's filled to the brim, and it's only half the size of this one. So luckily this one will accommodate the popularity of the space much more. What happens in there is that students come to gather to receive additional instruction, to study together, and they'll be able to do that here in a much better fashion. You'll have seating for lounging, you'll have seating at booths, you'll have high tables that will be better suited for an instructor to come around and offer some tips. So we're hoping that the popularity of this will really contribute to the overall strategy of the first year programs to try to retain as many students as possible, especially those from underrepresented demographics. So one of the greatest tributes to the student experience here at the Zeanah Engineering Complex is the fact that a lot of the most prized real estate has been devoted to students. So on Wing 4, where we are right now, most of the river views have actually been assigned to either student collaboration areas or graduate assistant open offices. And you can see off there to the side that there's actually even a terrace off of this particular student collaboration zone. And further behind us are a few more smaller collaboration rooms as well. All right, so we're actually right next to one of the Engage Active Learning classrooms. Let's go take a look. So this is one of the Engage Active Learning classrooms, and it's about 50 feet by 80 feet, and at this size, it would hold about 128 students. What's really interesting about this room is that it was designed around a particular way of instructing students who will be mostly in groups, but the instructor can decide whether to address the entire 128 or at the touch of a button can subdivide the room into 4 different rooms of 32 if they want to. So really a lot of flexibility there, and the fact that this repeats itself 2 more times in the building means that you would have about 384 students at a time being instructed in these rooms.
So we're standing in one of the Flex research labs. If you recall, Flex is in the name because engineering has a diversity of applications, and therefore it has a diversity in what its research requires. We have wet labs and dry labs in this building. Typically wet labs, which have a lot more fume hoods like what's behind me, are located lower in the building. The dry labs, which have fewer fume hoods, if any fume hoods in them, are located higher in the building. And really that's by code. But what is nice about this building is that there is the ability to grow in the number of fume hoods beyond what we have on day 1.
All right, so imagine you just got off a freight elevator onto the 5th floor of Wing 2. We are surrounded by dry labs, and what is a neat feature of the research laboratories in this building are windows just like this one. There were several mandates from the college administration about what this building should do. One is that it should be a gateway, that it should be welcoming and inclusive, and that it should promote a culture of safety. This window does all 3 of those things. What it does is it visually welcomes visitors into what is previously hidden research, and it provides for those individuals who are official on the inside more of an onus to prioritize safety protocols. So now we're at the end of the 5th floor dry lab corridor. The end of every research lab corridor will have a collaboration area. What's nice about that is that professional research can be taxing and isolating, and so providing a spot for those folks to actually congregate, to exchange ideas, to rest, frankly, will be really a welcome addition to this lab area. Off to the side here will be a conference area and a kitchenette, and then if you come around here, you'll see that the best feature of this collaboration area is the view of downtown and the Henley Street Bridge. And every research corridor collaboration area will have a view just like this. So here we are on the 5th floor of Wing 1. These are the Flex Research Lab offices. Considerably further along than the last time you saw them. This building is getting completed from the top down. So we'll move from here, the 5th floor, down to the ground floor. You haven't seen any of the nuclear engineering spaces yet, and we'll show you the fast neutron source room there, which is not as far along as this, but it is coming along.
So this is the fast neutron source, which is one of the radiation laboratories that few people will actually get to see. This space, you can hear the echo in it. It is solid concrete, and by solid concrete, I mean sometimes the walls are 4 feet thick. The ceiling above us is actually 5 feet thick. And what's tricky about concrete pours for that thick of a mass, in fact it's called mass concrete, is that sometimes the temperature of the concrete can get so high that it actually weakens the structural strength of the concrete. So the slurry has to be delivered to the site in a chilled fashion, and the temperature of the pour has to be monitored in the forms with embedded sensors just to make sure that the correct temperature parameters are present. So really tricky and more than meets the eye location.
Well, that'll about do it for this trip. What you've seen is a pretty good chunk of the Zeanah Engineering Complex, which is about 232,000 gross square feet, and will magnify the impact of the Tickle College of Engineering. This project is funded by state appropriations, campus contributions, and generous donations from people like Eric and Elaine Zeanah. This project is being worked on by dozens of individuals from the university. I want to call out Dr. Bill Dunn as being really integral to the success of this project. This project is led from the design side by McCarty Wholesale McCarty along with Smith Group. The construction is led by Blaine Construction Corporation. And on behalf of everyone working on this project, we hope to see you in the fall, and go Vols.
That's great.
Okay, well, you can watch that again on your own. I'm just about out of time, so I'm going to have to really crush through these other slides fairly quickly. Can everybody see the presentation?
Yes.
I think so. Okay, so so we have 26 faculty offices, 14 postdoc offices. We have room for 108 graduate students. So all of our graduate students probably will not have seats here. Some grad students will still have seats elsewhere or be off campus. The conference rooms, these things in the parentheses, that's how many people at seats. So we have a large executive conference room, a couple smaller conference rooms, student society rooms. Here's those two 6-person student rooms down on that first floor. And then at the end of each wing, there's a 6-person conference room. Here's seating on the first floor. So the first floor is mainly some classrooms and the cluster and computer spaces and laboratories. But at the south end, there's these 2 group study rooms. And then we have some, it looks like Dr. Hall, Dr. Lang, Dr. Woods, Engs, Coble. This is where some of our graduate students will be. We look on the second floor here on the left. We have some research faculty on the left, or some emeritus faculty like Dr. Townsend, Dr. Miller, Dr. Upadhyaya. And then on the right side, our faculty, Kavala, Maldonado, Wood, Lucosi, Halbron, Bogadich, and Sobes. And then this is the ANS chapter room. Actually, it's not ANS chapter. We should call it the Student Society room because it's not just American Nuclear Society. And they have their own conference room. Dr. Coble gets this big, beautiful office here right next to to Amanda Lovelace. We go up to the third floor. You can see, again, TAs, or graduate students, postdocs, faculty. Dr. Zinkel has almost a double office here. So we have faculty offices. This is kind of the fusion and materials faculty. Dr. Worth's here, and then a couple nice conference rooms with a little collaboration area. On the fourth floor, again, we have the administrative suite. We have our very large break room. This is kind of our plug-in research center, executive conference room. You can't see it because it's off it, but this doorway goes to our nuclear engineering balcony. Again, we had 23 labs programmed into the building. We talked about at the end of each research wing is this collaboration area. So you have a collaboration area with a break room and kitchenettes and a conference room. And again, wall-mounted screens, so that everybody can see the screens. Justin Dothard talked about pouring the concrete for the shielded areas. This is kind of in the middle of the pours. We had some of the walls poured at this point. And that's it. So happy to try to answer any questions. I know we're right up against the clock, so we're going to flow right into our town hall. But if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Great.
Ubadiah?
I don't have a question. Looks great.
Okay, thank you.
Is there supposed to be a balcony with like a garden, green area?
Yeah, so there is a large balcony on the 4th floor. Whoops. I don't know what happened there. It stopped. So on the 4th floor, 1, 2, 3. Here's the 4th floor. This is a balcony, and right along the edge, I think it had places for like plants. It's kind of a terrace. If you look at it from the outside, it would be right here. So some of the pictures showed some greenery kind of flowing over this limestone, but this is a big balcony here on the 4th floor, and then Nuclear has their smaller balcony on the 4th floor.